experience, he has designed and managed the constructions of various buildings projects, which are notable, and among which are the commercial and institutional buildings. Okay. He's a team player with exceptional skills in problem solving and building construction management. And his major aim is towards making clients happy and satisfied. He's all over University in Nigeria. He has his master's in architecture also from OAU. He's a graduate member of Nigeria Institute of Management. He has also another degree in civil and environmental engineering from University of Lagos, Nigeria. He's an ACON registered and certified member. He's a project management institute member also. He has skills in project management, architectural design, and construction drawings. He has skills in structural analysis and design, and also data analysis. So we can see that he's someone that is invested in a lot of things, and he's still also, he's married with children, he has a family and all. So with an e-ovation, and I'd like to invite him to speak to us today on how to navigate through work demands and also be productive at what we do. So I want us to give a round of applause. I want us to send reactions on the group chat as I welcome Dr. Engineer Radha, Architect Olasupo. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bola. Thank you for that illustrious introduction. Okay, just can you enable participants sharing? I can share my screen.
Okay.
I want to present. So while you're at that, thank you everyone for joining in for this presentation. This is just going to be a quick one, and just like the topic entails, we'll be talking more on resilience, which is a skill that we all need to be able to navigate the busy terrain, in which we find ourselves. Okay, so building resilience, navigating stress and work demands. Like I said, it's a fast-paced world. So many things are demanding for our time, demanding for our attention. There's so much to do. You are working, learning, going to church. Engaged in volunteering work. So you might have a family, so many other personal responsibilities. So there's quite a lot demanding for our time, demanding for our attention, and as human beings, naturally, it's likelihood that we'll be stressed. There's that likelihood is of stress is very much, and that's which has to do with some skills that we've been built, we've learned, we've practiced on how to just cope with the challenging situations that we are faced with. So what is resilience? Resilience is just the ability to adapt and recover quickly from adversity. It is a skill that can be developed through practice, enabling individuals to maintain their performance and well-being even in the face of stress and challenges. It is inevitable that we will be stressed or will be faced with challenging situations. So resilience is a skill that we should imbibe if we want to grow in our career, if we want to succeed in our relationships, if we want to excel even as human beings. Now, there are various sources of stress that we encounter in our lives, especially in the workplace, which is our focus for this talk. Talking about sources of stress, we have high workloads. Many times, even if whether as an employee or an employer, the workload can be much. As an employee, typically your boss will give you much more give you much more work than you are being paid for. Sometimes you have to even work weekends. Sometimes you have to work past the closing time. This is Nigeria. Closing time is not really enforced. So you have to work. The workload can be much. You can be handling. Talking from my own experience now, handling quite a number of projects at the same time, and sometimes it feels like, won't I just melt under the load of this work? Secondly, job roles can be fluid. Sometimes in some organizations, yes, you have your job description, but every now and then you are called upon to do something totally different from what is your typical job role. You are called upon to assist somebody. You are called upon, to do something completely different, from you've been employed to do. And when you're faced with situations like that, they're actually like a source of stress, because you start to rack your mind. You have your own core job roles that you have to perform. The fact that you have been asked to do something else, it doesn't mean that probably the boss will expect that those other ones will suffer. So changing roles can be a source of stress in the workplace. Lack of support. Many times organizations are short-staffed. They want to minimize their expenses and maximize their profit. So you find yourself doing the work of probably 2, 3, 4 people. In this era of Japa, some people just leave abruptly, and all the work for the company probably hire somebody else. All the workload is put on you. Well, I worked the last time. That was a situation in which I was faced. Normally you're on two projects, two serious projects at the time. But because hands were few, I had to handle like 4 projects, at the same time. And as if the Oga will understand, okay, this guy is doing much more, but the same level of expectation and expect for the project. So, and many times that's the face. The support is not there when 2 people are supposed to go, 2, 3 or more people are supposed to be doing work. You don't have to support even you as probably at the head of the team. That isn't there, and typically that will lead you into being stressed. Then stress coming from trying to balance, different dynamics of our lives, our relationships, our work with God, our personal development. Sometimes it can just be all work. You especially, talking about Lagos, especially if you live far away from where you work, you close. Normal closing time is 5, but you're still in the office like 7. And when you set out to go home, you're stuck in traffic. That becomes that's like more or less like a daily routine. Get home by 9, 10. That's when you're having dinner. So so it's quite difficult. And even when you've gone through all that road in the week, it's very difficult to walk home. And so it was like, how do I balance, things out and all this? One is overly stressed. So stress is a reality that we have to contend with. So, well, the beautiful thing is we can imbibe, this skill called resilience by making some subtle transformation in our lives. And one of the reasons why, some of the reasons why we have to imbue resilience in our person, because that this resilience skill will help us to manage stress better. It will help us to solve problems more effectively and to recover quickly from setbacks. So the stresses are not going anywhere. That's just a simple. That's a given. So that they will always be there. So, but we now need to respond, with with resilience, as it were. Having resilience might not be something that probably that you have been back naturally. Maybe some while growing up faced with different challenging situations, and maybe they have learned one or two things, but maybe but essentially it's a skill that we all need to learn. Whether we have something inbuilt in us, we can still even do better, because resilience is very key if we are to manage stress, to solve our problems more effectively, and even when we feel down and exhausted, that resilient spirit will help us to bounce back even after we are down. The Bible says that a righteous man will fall 7 times and he will rise up again. So it's one of those things that will enable us to always bounce back even after we faced something bad. Now, strategies to build resilience. Number one is we need self-aware. Sometimes you just need to come to a place where you just cut out all the noise, and and we are aware of ourselves as being a person, and instance, a conscious existence. So you can be lost in the hustling and bustling of work that we even forget ourselves that that you are a person. But one of the key strategies to imbibing this resilience is becoming self-aware. Sometimes it might be good for you to just do some meditation. Sometimes maybe just close your eyes and maybe think of something good. Think of the good things surrounding the job, and lead on us to the next point: positive mindset. Which entails that when stressful situations come, when we are encountered by stressful situations, we shouldn't be all negative, because situations can actually be blessings, like opportunities for us to expand, to enlarge our person, enlarge our abilities, enlarge our consciousness. So we should have this positive mindset, at the back of our minds, that even when I'm faced with something stressful, a stressful situation, it can be a blessing in disguise. And when we look back even at our lives, we discover that many of such stressful situations actually were opportunities for us to grow, opportunities for us to solve problems, opportunities for us to look at this in a day, think us outside the box. So developing resilience means we should be self-aware. We should have a positive mental attitude to things. Yes, they are stressful, but they can be lessons in disguise. But it's also important that we establish some healthy boundaries. We are not, that how resilient we are. We also need to understand that per time, we have some, yes, by training, by meditation, by exposure and developing ourselves, we can extend that elastic limit. But we need to understand that we have we have limits at time, and so we need to understand those limits and set the boundaries, which include, of course, hello, can we still hear me?
Yeah, clearly.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My presentation. Okay, well, can you still see my slide?
No, it's off.
Let's see. Okay, I think some network issues here, but I'm just continuing. So let's set some healthy boundaries. Know what you can do per time. We learn to delegate. We learn to manage our time, and also a key strategy for building resilience is being adaptable, being open-minded, open to some of the things that we find difficult, probably are things that others have experienced and found a better way to do things. So being walk up to people, asking for help, being able to bond people, glean some knowledge, open-minded, being adaptable, will really help to develop our residents. Okay, so. Okay, so further to that, it's also important also for us to manage our work days. A key aspect of that is time management. Break tasks into smaller, more manageable parts, and prioritize your workload. Don't be jack of all trades, a master of none. Many times, probably when I first get to the office, these are the tasks that are important for me, and prioritize. Okay, this one is more important. This one is important, but probably the deadline can be defined. There's this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I encourage you to grab a copy. It's a wonderful book. It talked about beginning with the end in mind. We talked about 4 quadrants of activities. I think those are important, or urgent. Those are important, but not urgent. Those are urgent, but not important. And so it helps us to prioritize things in accordance to those that are urgent and those that aren't, and help us, that will indeed help us to manage work stress more effectively. Also, it's also important to communicate effectively. Like I mentioned before, let's seek help from colleagues, clarify roles and responsibilities, and resolve conflict. Thirdly, on managing work stress, let's be mindful. Mindfulness is important. Practice doing exercises, take regular breaks, engage in activities that help you recharge. Sometimes you've sat for, say, 3 hours, and then take a walk, breathe some fresh air, listen to some music. Sometimes, I mean, I'm so much stressed. I just want to do something probably that just at least distract my mind a bit. And the funny thing is, our minds actually very intelligent. Sometimes when we distract consciously, do something consciously that distracts our mind just momentarily. Often what happens is the important things that we're trying to sort out, the important tasks we're trying to carry out, like they are shifted into our subconscious, and our mind being like a supercomputer. It's like it keeps working on it even though we are not conscious of it. Oftentimes, like you look at a problem, you are stressed, and you are not problem, no solution. But you're looking at how to figure out something. But you break, take a walk, grab a bottle of water, or grab a snack, and you come it, and it's like something happens and flash of a breakthrough idea just comes. So it's important to be mindful. To that, I mean, look at, sometimes I work late into the night, and I'm trying to figure out a problem. I'm stressed already, and it's like the solution isn't coming. But it's like by that activity in itself, you sort of initialize your mind, to embrace an attempt to solve that problem. So by the time you go to sleep, you might even have a dream that I can do it this way, or you wake up and it's like your mind is fresh, and the ideas just start popping out, and you've solved another problem. Also, building up resilience in accordance with that, it's important to build support systems around ourselves. Networking is important. We shouldn't work as an island. Just like Liverpool fans will say, they never walk alone. It's important not to walk alone. Some of the things that stress us out are actually things that some others have gone through and they overcome. Isaac Newton said he was able to see farther than others because he sat on the shoulder of giants. So it's important, to network, to build upon what others have done, to learn from what others have gone through. A notable saying is wise people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. Probably the wisest people learn from instruction as it were. So it's important to network, build connections with colleagues and peers who can provide support and mentorship. Also, in our personal relationship, it's important that we invest in personal relationships to maintain a healthy work-life balance. Supervisory support. Lastly, it's important to reach out to people, to higher ups about probably some of the challenges are being faced. Sometimes you're being faced with all the stress in the workplace. It might just be that probably your boss thinks that you can cope. That's why he keeps or she keeps, just pushing a lot of stuff in your direction. But it's important, to be able to like, okay, I'm over stress. There are times in the office that some projects are being pushed to me and I refused to take with the projects that I'm handling now. I'll not be able to cope with this additional project. It's important that, respectfully, sometimes have honest conversations with our superiors about our workloads, about sometimes this workload might be that we need to get more hands, we need to outsource the work, while I just provide some supervisory role. And so it's important to engage also our superiors about what the situations and the stress we have been faced with. So that about wraps it up. Just to go back what we've discussed, it's important that we build up resilience in our person because stressful situations, whether at home, in our personal lives, in the workplace, in our career, such situations are inevitable, but we should approach them with a positive mindset, with an open heart. We should be adaptable. We should form networks with people who help us to manage our stress, and we should think outside of the box. And also, we should pray. I think that's also I believe so much in some of the things that stresses us so much. Just probably a short word of prayer, and probably the stress just it's like you deflated, you tired, and it just goes away. So I encourage us that whatever it is we are going through, however stressful it is. I haven't mentioned all of this, talking about psychological stuff that we can employ. It's also important to pray, to meditate on the word of God, and God will lead us in the right direction. Okay, so if you want to read further about stress, there's this wonderful book I read back then, Working with Emotional Intelligence, a very important, very insightful book. Others, of course, that we can go through, the resilience factor and mindfulness for beginners. So with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. So if you have questions, I want yes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Architect Olasupo, for that. It was very precise and it was really practicable. Like there are like practical steps literally that we could walk through to, build resilience. So I think, yes, one thing that you helped us with is to focus on the being resilient parts. Like these things will come. It is common to man. All of these stress and these troubles are common to man. So building resilience to now navigate through these things are what you're actually trying to like focus on. And that was really, really good. I also have, one or two things I've learned from this. And before I share my thoughts also, or my contributions or questions, I'd like to ask people on the call, on the group, rather. So you can please unmute yourself or raise your hand or type in the comments in the chat box if you have a question or a contribution. So we can like collect them together before we move ahead. We'll give rooms for objections, questions, contributions. Okay. I was going to. Yes. I would allow Dr. Bola to yes, come on board and share his thoughts. I think one thing that also stood out for me is that Lagos people, especially this city of Lagos, there's this also and bustle thing of everybody's always on the move, everybody's rushing, everybody wants to do it at the same time, and people are stressed. So either way or the other, people find a way to like relax. There are some people that have the thing of Monday to Friday work, Friday night is non-negotiable. Friday night, non-negotiable. They have to go out. They have to go and do something, either go to a place or do something to like unwind. So, having that moment of unwinding also would help to, relieve stress and also to be more productive. So yes, I'll have Akebola, please. You can unmute and have the floor. Thank you. Dr. Bola, sir, you can please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. The network was throwing in and out. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can, sir.
Okay. Sorry, in case if I'm breaking intermittently, I'm actually in transit.
Okay.
First of all, thank you so much. What a wonderful delivery. Your presentation was quite on point, because initially I was just thinking people joining, all the participants will be at different levels of pain points, right? I mean, people are navigating through different aspects of life at the moment. And I'm trying to same time. But one of the things while you're talking that I remember that really helped me, pretty much when I started out in my practice, has to do with learning how to say no. And when you say no, you really mean your no. It might be very difficult. I mean, I remember I had a lot of challenges, even trying to let people understand my disposition to things. And I hold myself first, my mental health, because it's when I'm at my best, I actually can achieve results on whatever I do. So one, you need to learn how to say no. And when you say no, mean it. Either at your workplace, when you are being overloaded with work, you know your capacity. And perhaps maybe you have to even start from knowing your capacity as an individual. So usually I will tell people that you need to conduct personal assessment tests on yourself so that you know who you are, knowledge growth you are traversing, and what kind of capacity do you have. Not everybody is versatile. Not everybody has skill in time management. So just know your limitations. And when you are given tasks and you know it's beyond, it's going to take you to overstretch yourself, you need to learn how to say no. And when you say no, mean it. And that will really help you. And trust me, when you say no the first time, people will actually comport themselves and know how to relate with you. And then you'll be able to create some kind of level of barrier against stress inducement for yourself. So that will really help you. And finally, I've heard a lot about, people telling, counseling others and tell them, oh, you have to work against multitasking and all of that. Yes, it's good, but let's be real. In the kind of environment where we live, where it's all about bustling, hustling, people trying to make ends meet, trying to, they will even tell you it's about survival of the fittest and all of that. Trust me, you need to learn how to effectively multitask. It's when you don't learn and you don't develop skill in achieving effectiveness in multitasking. That's when you see some stress induced mechanisms working against your productivity. So it's also important. Let's not shy away from it. For you to succeed at certain level, you need to multitask. So you rather build the capacity that will enable productivity and then determine your limits when you multitask. If you don't do that, when situation demands for you to multitask, then you fail and you experience some kind of fatigue and probably end up, having stress-induced issues to deal with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution, sir. I think for me, I have a question concerning what you said about saying no. Like you should have a time where you could say you should say no to some certain things or to some certain people. So are there stages to this level of saying no? Like, do you get to a point where you feel like, okay, I can't take this really, and then I am saying no, or at some point you can take everything, and as time goes, then you can try to shed some things, and you're like, okay, at this point I can't do this anymore. Then you're saying no. Or at first you accommodate everything, maybe not everything, but at least things that seem necessary for some phase, and then at some point then you can start to now reject some things, assignments, tasks, or offers that seems beyond what someone can accommodate.
Okay, I'm sure that question is for me. So, I mean, still using myself as an example, there is a particular point that Akiteshopo raised, which is very, very important. In fact, is a skill, is one of the past skills everyone needs to learn, and that is effective communication. There is a way you say no and you mean no, and it's just, people take it like that, not disrespectful, not as if you are indicting, not as if you are trying to immigrate some kind of sentiment or emotions that will warrant people to take you for granted. There is a way you communicate effectively to people, and then they respect you for your decision. For instance, I remember one of the issues I dealt with pretty much earlier in my career, being a young intern that just joined the company that has so much to do. And I discovered the top management staffs, and their leadership style was very, very terrible. They just like delegating without having proper supervisory role and having oversight on jobs and all of that. So they just sit down in their cubicle and they just turn everybody to errand boys, do this, do that, do that, do that, with so much expectations. That's the structure and that's the style of leadership in the organization. It didn't go well. Never went well with me because I felt it should be shared responsibility. Where's the servant leadership here? Right? Where's the opportunity for others to grow and learn? Because you learn as an intern when you see your superiors or when you see your line managers doing the job. You learn on the job, right? Or probably maybe it's going to be a form of mentorship or coaching, but they don't just have to sit down on their table in their cubicle and be throwing commands every here and there. So, it got to a point that I had to now understand role delineation. What exactly is my role and what's the limit of my work? So in doing that, I had to start exercising my authority, like, okay, sorry, this is not for me. I can't do this. Can you hack someone else? I'm doing ABCD. So I learned how to really make firm decisions for myself to protect myself and all of that. Not because I want to do high service, not because I want to please people. People didn't like me for it, but hey, it took years before they understood the reason I had to do that. Now everybody loves the way I worked then and they want to relate back with me. So we need to learn effective communication and be firm when we stand on the right thing. Then finally, initially it will be very difficult, especially because of the kind of culture we have embraced. Because there is a culture in workplaces. There's a way, probably the way you even got your job. It might be through someone that knows someone that knows someone and knows someone and all of that. It might be that it was an act of favor. It wasn't really that you merited the position and all of that. So that also can affect the process by which you will approach your activities in your workplace. But by and large, you need to discover yourself, right? And when you discover yourself, areas where you know there are skill gaps should be part of what you should focus on and develop yourself. Like part of almost all our trainings are things that should help you to self-develop. So I wouldn't expect anybody to miss in our monthly trainings because every topic I intentionally created to empower us and develop us in such a way that will build capacities. And then we move up to the level of the normal competencies that will enable us to live above all these things. I do so many things. I'm never stressed. And when I'm stressed, I know my limits. I call it a rough. Sometimes I even switch off all my phones, right? Heaven will not fall. You know, that's another thing. Just put this kind of restriction around your communication channels in such a way that you are not giving people undue access, because you give someone a bite, they take 10 bites. So you create all these kind of limiting barriers around yourself in such a way that you can enable productivity. Part of it is what I said. You have to learn how to say no. A client is asking you too many things all at the same time, and you think you are going to please the client. By the time you try to please the client and you're not effective, they will throw you off. So these are part of what I mean by learning how to say no. Thank you.
Okay. In addition to that, just like we've discussed, it's important, when we are faced with challenging situation, being mindful of that particular situation, considering it from the perspective of, is it an opportunity for me to grow? Are there things I can do to expand my skills? Probably need to maybe you're supposed to send in 5 emails per day, and all of a sudden the number of emails increased to 20. So instead of just reacting, as it were, just saying outright no, your first approach should be that how can I accommodate? Is it possible I accommodate it? Are there skills I can develop? Are there tools I can use that will help make me more efficient? But of course, there's always a limit. So, and that's why it's important to know, having done all to stand, to understand what our limit is, per time. And when we need to say no, we should say no. Yeah, not saying no in a confrontational way, because that's one of the things that was mentioned in the presentation, working with emotional intelligence. There are various ways of saying no. Sometimes it might be okay. The no might be in terms of, okay, for this work, I can do it, but I need much more time. So if the boss can't wait, well, it's not as if you've said outright no, but I can't finish it in that time. So he understands that, probably gives it to somebody else. Sometimes in my own line of work, somebody comes, I need this job, I need this job, I'm like, okay, well, if you want me to do it, maybe expect that within a week I should have delivered. But instead of telling the clients no, I might tell him that, okay, this work, it will require 4 weeks, so can you wait? Or maybe a work that you don't even want to do, instead of saying no, you might say, maybe bill the clients, an amount probably you think you'll not pay. Although, that's risky, but, so those are some of the strategies that, being emotionally intelligent about saying no, because definitely there are times you have to say no, because people will say that the life of work is more than the life of man. If you crash today, the work, somebody else to do the work, so, but it just means that we need to be intelligent about how we say no and manage our stress.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Bolali, let me just give
sir.
this example.
All
2 weeks
right.
ago, a dear friend who is a Ghanaian, works with World Bank, lives with his family in Kenya, Nairobi, died 2 weeks ago, and he was buried the following week. Guess what? This last Monday, 5 days ago, is it 6 days now, World Bank put out a notice for replacement for his role. The first response I had was like, wow, less than a month. This guy died, very young chap, about 39 years old, died. A month after, the week after, he was buried. And the following week, the bank put out a notice for the replacement of his role. So trust me, nobody is indispensable. So if you think you're going to kill yourself over a job or in trying to please a client and all of that, stressing yourself up, you will always have a replacement. In fact, the very first day you are employed, the organization is already thinking about your replacement. And that's the way life is. Life continues, life goes on. So you hold yourself first, your sanity, your self-existence, and your mental health. And every other thing comes there afterwards. You don't owe anybody apology, because after all, if they're still going to fire you on your job, they'll still fire you. We are going reasons and so many other factors that will necessitate that. So that's part of what I think we need to begin to look at. And for those who are yet to be employed, or you are still searching for a job, in fact, this is one of the things that you should address before you commit yourself to any job. So it's not just like I want to do just anything, because we sometimes make those kind of mistakes when we are deciding on job to do. You know, you don't have the capacity, and you always say, oh, you learn on the job. No, it's a wrong approach, right? It's a wrong approach to building your career. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that last thing that you said. So many people are like, so many times we just want the job like right now on the spot, not looking at the long term and every other thing that comes with the so many I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. At the end, there's this meme that goes around to say, is this the job I begged God and I cried to God for? Because literally it's as if this job now is after my life. I want to take my life. So yes, thank you very much for your contributions. I'll give space also for every other person to ask their question or their contribution. We have a very limited time, so please, I would like you to like respond on time if you have a question or a contribution. Okay, let me just give like 1 more minute or so. But then this session has actually helped me a lot because I know that yes, we have different personality types, and saying no comes easy. Like yes, we've learned that we should be diplomatic about how we go about even declining some offers. But then, for example, me sometimes I don't know. I mean, I had a scenario at work where I was now working with somebody, and I felt like, and actually I think I shot myself at some point because I felt like the way the role came about, it was like it was something that was it didn't go through the normal process. So I felt like I had to do a lot to impress the immediate boss. So I was always like the demands were always very crazy. Like literally at first my boss had to tell me that, oh, okay, so I need my report on Saturdays. He said reporting me on Saturdays, and then we review on Sundays for a meeting that is going to happen on Tuesdays. And at first, I think I did it for the first week. We had a call on Saturday for like 2 hours. Then on Sunday again, I had to send the report. And then on Monday, we now review the report for a meeting that's going to happen on Tuesday. Like it was a whole lot. When I first started, it was really, really a lot. It was a lot. And at some point, I was learning how to now work with a person. I was learning how to, in fact, I think at some point, some persons at my workplace had to tell me that, see, you have to learn how to manage your boss because he's going to come with crazy expectations. But you, on the other hand, have to manage him. The meeting is on Tuesdays, and for crying out loud, you can send the report to him on Monday. He reviews, you correct, and then he prepares it for his meeting on Tuesdays. You don't have to do all the Saturdays and Sundays over time, because I'm not being paid to work on Saturdays and Sundays, and I've been working Monday to Friday, and I still have other things I'm doing. So I mean, over time I've learned how to, even though I still have some cases where unusual demands still come up, but at least the reasonable aspect, I'm able to at least manage his expectations. Sometimes I'm still learning now how to still say, oh sir, please, for this I'll do like 5 hours. I can't deliver to you 2 hours. Sometimes he has a meeting in 1 hour and he just asked me, oh, I need this thing in 30 minutes or in 1 hour. Like, I have other things I'm doing. You just come to me, ask for this and expect me to deliver just right there. And I have other things I'm supposed to still do as a staff of this organization. So yes, I think this session also is helping me to learn how to decline some offers respectfully and to respectfully, air my opinions, and really to make me understand that I really bring a lot to this table. So you have to respect me also. You have to respect my time. You have to respect just asking me for tasks up and down. So yes, I've learned a lot. I don't know if anyone else would like to air their thoughts or opinions or questions again before we round up the session. I believe we all have practical experiences of things that sorry, I guess I was thrown out of the meeting for a while.
Hello,
Yes.
Bolande, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, just my final. I mean, let's be open. This is just more like an open forum. Let's talk and share areas of our struggles. But my own final thought is this. I mean, from experience, whatever endeavor you engage yourself in, either at your workplace, in your personal life, or trying to navigate life generally, might even be in relationships, right? Once you see indications of struggle, like you are taking too much time to achieve results, just know that it's something that is not necessarily may not be cutting for you. Maybe you are trying to learn something and it's taking you like forever. Okay, it's also part of time management skill. So why don't you focus on things that can give you quick wins, low hanging fruits, right? Because this kind of frustration also can provoke self-induced stress. Because sometimes we might think that the stress we are addressing is something that is coming from external. Oftentimes, there might be internal self-induced stress simply because, okay, you have been given a task, you know you don't have the capacity, you don't have the knowledge, and you don't want people to know. Probably you want to save face, and I mean, what would people say? What would your boss say, and all of that? And you don't have that disposition to let them know that, oh, sorry, I can't do this. I'm still learning, something like that, politely, or with some level of emotional intelligence. You try to explain your way out and all of that, so that whoever can get the result for them can do it. Because if you fail at the end of the day, it's going to now provoke higher stress on you. Maybe like the fear of like you might lose your job, blah blah blah. So these are all the kind of ways by which we can watch, points and entrances of stress into our lives. Let's just have that openness. Let people be able to sometimes see through us and know that, oh, let me not bring this thing to her or to him, because this is not his game. This is not our game. Like, and people will respect you for it. And you are still on a journey, growing, learning. And when you arrive at every point in time, people will recognize, oh, this person is good at this, and they will recognize it's not everything I can do, right? So you won't see me everywhere. But the things I know how to do best, I will always be found doing those things, right? And talking about it. And that's what she was talked about, jack of all trades and master of none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Also, just a final thought. Managing stress, there's like a physiological aspect to it, so it's important we take good care of ourselves. We eat well, take fruits, vegetables, exercise, build up your muscle tone, eat banana. I think banana helps the brain and stuff. And also, don't, especially if you are working in an environment that's where you have to do so much physical, mental work. I mean, don't say I'm too young. It's have a BP apparatus. Check your BP regularly, because you never know in this time and age. So when you are starting to approach your limits. I mean, you can check there's all small kits that you can use to check your glucose level, check your blood pressure. There are watches that helps keep track of your heart rate. So I mean, just being intentional about taking care of ourselves. Thank you.
God bless you, Shubo. I just personally engage a nutritionist myself because I saw that lapses in my daily activities. I mean, I don't eat well, blah blah blah. So I mean, I just from the blue, it's something I'm not good at. So I need help. So I had to engage a professional nutritionist that's going to take me on the journey of 3 months. So thank you. So it's something, let's not just lose touch of any aspect of our lives, because it's usually cumulative. Thank you. Over to you, Bolanle. Sorry for punching it.
Yes, that's good. I think it's a lot to learn really from this. Lastly, I have is it a concern or a question? From what you said last about being open, if you're not able to do a task, come out to say, oh, maybe I'm not able to do this, or maybe I'll learn on the job. Like currently, my workplace, in my team, like so sometimes because sometimes salespeople actually get there's a lot of pressure on the job, and so many times people are trying to like run away from the department and move to another department. So there was an opening in my workplace for another role, and there's this person in the sales team. Actually, the person isn't like qualified for this new role, yeah. But then everybody's like, it's like everybody was looking for a way of escape. So she applied for this role, and fortunately for her, she scaled through the first stage. Then the second stage, now she did a lot of things. Like she has literally, like I was helping her, like too many other people who helped her to come up with a presentation, her Excel, everything was perfected. Well, she now read, understood, and did the final stage, and then now she has gotten the role. But now, with what you've said, I'm looking like, okay, I just hope this girl would not, like, I hope she'll be able to perform, because we both know that she doesn't really know this thing, and she's just about to, she'll just start learning basic Excel skills and other analysis tools and other things. And so is it like setting up a failure thing, or like is learning on the job really a thing where someone could literally like learn on the job and catch up with the pace and not, like manage the whole thing of the stress and all? I hope you get my question or what I'm trying to like say.
Yes, I think that was directed to me. Yes,
Yes, sir,
I
because
got your
we
question
talked about that.
perfectly. So when I said learning on the job, this is what I meant by that. You know areas of your strength. There are areas of specialization in all professional endeavor. There are areas of specialization. Okay, so when you are making choices of what to do, the kind of career path you need to define for yourself, there are other criteria you need to take into consideration so that at the end of the day, as you take the steps, you are not struggling to grow. Have you ever wondered why someone on a job after 5 years, which is usually, the first tranche of growth in your career, you just discover that you have not moved any inch? Yeah, you may be making the money, because beyond how much you are making is also what we call levels of satisfaction. If you remember Maslow model of human needs, there's also different levels of satisfaction you derive. If you are doing a job where you are working, stressing yourself, but you never had time to even enjoy the money you are making, it's part of it. So here, you just pick up a job, you don't have the skill, you don't have the competence, you don't have the knowledge, those basic things that will make you not to struggle, even though you are still going to be on the path of learning. At the end of the day, you're not going to learn anything because it's not your disposition. And then you will struggle, you'll not be productive. And stress comes both inside and outside of you. So it's going to be a serious problem. Usually such people, they fire them. I have some of them I've worked with. And because I understand this nature, I don't even wait for too long, because if you don't fire them, you are not helping them because they are not growing, right? But if it's the other way around, someone got an opportunity and has opportunity, right there, has the opportunity to learn through the ladder. If it is the person's cut in, the person will not struggle in learning. Someone that doesn't know, after all, everybody doesn't have this requisite knowledge inherent in us. At one point or the other, you have to learn it. So you learn, and those things you learn stick to you because they are areas of interest. They are areas that aligns with passion. They are areas that align with your vision, all those things. Otherwise, they won't stick with you, and you just leave them. So those are things that you need to watch, and you don't just pick any role or any job opportunities that hangs around, because at the end of the day, it's going to turn into frustration as long as you're not getting what's it called? You're not getting results. Shupon knows this very well. Sometimes we work together. There are some things that, even though I know how to do it, but I know if I do it, I won't get the best results. I will outsource it, or I will look for someone else that can do it and focus my attention and my energy and time and other resources on things that will give me good results, and keep learning on that path. So that's what we all need to begin to do. And if we get it right from the beginning and the outset of our career, trust me, we will achieve higher heights quicker than we can ever imagine, even than our contemporaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is actually the real truth, honestly. A lot of people are doing things they don't enjoy, or things they're not supposed to even be, because we want to earn or something. So thank you so much for this session. Such an enlightening one. I'm surprised that people didn't ask questions or contributions. Maybe because I actually have a lot in mind for this session before now. So, but then it's all fine. I'm glad at least we are here, even though we're not asking questions or contributing.
Watch my cow.
Okay. I'm seeing some new persons here. Rhoda, can you please unmute and introduce yourself? And there's someone that logged on with ITEL A663LC. Would like to hear from you and know you. good afternoon. Can you please unmute and introduce yourself in like a second? You could type in the chat box also if you cannot unmute. Rhoda, can you hear us? Good afternoon. If you're hearing me, on the chat box, actually, there's the website address. You can check us out on our website. You can also check us out on our social media platforms. Our Facebook handle is there, our Instagram handle is there, our X handle is also there. And also, if you'd like to join us, if you'd like to know more about Engage with Africa initiative, we're literally a youth-focused organization where we are tilted towards growth, towards advocacy, towards sponsorship and educational awareness, a lot of positive things to impact our community, to impact our space, and at a larger extent to transform the world. So if your purpose is towards that, or you'll be interested in anything that we do, or you'd like to get more information about us, you can check us out on our social media platforms. They are there on the chat box, so you can just copy or click on it, so it takes you to our landing page. And we'd like to hear from you also, if you can unmute, and let's hear from you again before we round up the session. I tell A663LC and Rhoda, I think these are two people that are not members of the volunteer community, and we have them here. I wouldn't like to keep us waiting for so long. I'd like just one or two persons to say a word or a phrase about how today's session has been, and we'll round up in a minute. By 5:05, we're out. Let me call on Celestine. Celestine, how was the session? Hi, Celestine. Can you please unmute and respond? Celestine and a lot of people have logged off the call. Celestine and Bimbo, can you just say a thing that stood out for you, or just tell me how the session was to you in like a sentence?
Okay, so for me,
yeah. Thank you.
It has been an enlightening one because all of these things are just like what Acted Shupo and Acted Dr. Bola was saying about us being able to say no to some certain kind of stuff. That actually helped me on a personal level, because at work there are times that some unnecessary tasks are just being assigned to me, and I respectfully say no to some of those tasks. I think it's also based on your personal relationship and the way you communicate with your line manager or the person that is leading you in your office or something. So I think based on how my work flow is and how I normally communicate with my line manager, saying no was not really like a hard thing for me, because when I was assigned to do something that is outside my design space, and I was like, I can't really deliver on this kind of stuff because it's really not what I can do. I have to, if you want me to really do it, I have to go and learn, and it will take me a whole lot of time. And I give her some certain kind of reasons why I can't do it. And immediately she took up the task from me and take it up to another person. So I agree 100% with what they said earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe I aside that to you, you cannot say no to me. Just know that one. Thank you. So I think at this point we've gotten. I don't know why Celestine cannot unmute. I've tried to ask you to unmute, but I don't know why it's not. I don't know why you cannot unmute yourself. Okay. We're supposed to end this by 5 o'clock. We've spent 7 minutes extra. So at this point, I think it's safe to say we can. Let me see if there's anything in the chat box. Okay. I'm really, really, really glad we had this session. Honestly, I've learned one or two. If not anything, I've learned how to politely decline some things that comes to my desk when it's not comfortable or convenient, or the deadlines are unrealistic. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session. And I'm sure we've learned one or two things from this session. And I'd like to see us again by next month in the next session, while we, work with the things that we've learned today. And a very big thank you to Architect Shupo also for taking the session, for being real. Thank you, Architect Bola, also for your contributions, and every other person that has contributed one or two, and also for even attending and inviting some of your friends to be here. We're so glad to have you here, and we say thank you. So see you all next month. Okay. So let's say we choose another platform. You mean for our monthly training sessions, right? Or I don't get that. Yes. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. Just keep just keep engaging. We would also use other platforms going forward. We would have some other channels of communication also, just stay tuned. So thank you, everyone. You can unmute and say bye to someone. Thank you for joining.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for joining.
Thank
I don't know
you
who
so
is
much.
using iTel. Take care, everyone.
Yes.
Bye.
And what also the audio is not enabled. Person dropped off at some point and is back now.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Okay, bye everyone.